want to turn freelancing into a full-time income, these are the skills I think you should be investing in 2024 and beyond if you want to turn this dream into a reality. The truth is you're not where you want to be because you don't have the skills required. Or you have the skills but you're not applying them. In this video, I'm going to share the skills that I have found to be the most useful, so you will no longer wonder if the time you are spending investing in skills is well spent or not. For those that want to build a freelancing business, this video will give you the foundations to get going. Because at the end of the day, better skills equals more opportunities and higher income potential. So let's get started. Before we get into it, this is why I chose these skills in particular. First, these are based on my personal experience. Over the last few years, even before I was a full-time freelancer, I spent lots of time developing skills. Most of them were a waste of time. On the other hand, there are the few skills that I developed that really gave me a return on my time investment. In a way, the 80-20 rule really applies in the situation. So, the following skills are those that I highly suggest that you invest the time and effort to learn. They are also the skills that will give you the highest leverage on your time, which is a very important thing to consider. With that in mind, let's get right into it. The first thing I will mention is being able to write effective content writing and copywriting. And I know that there is a difference between the two, but for the sake of this video, I group them together. Personally speaking, I have been working a lot in the content writing industry. I've done some copywriting as well, and I really appreciate how understanding copywriting can give you an advantage over those that don't. Being able to understand the emotional versus logical side when you are creating stuff is very important. So understanding the art of balancing emotional and logical appeal in your content in order to captivate your audience is very important. If you are writing a blog post, you need to understand what makes someone want to click on it, read the article, and then take the next logical step. And that comes from a mix of emotional and logical arguments. The same applies to creating other types of content like articles, videos, and social media. If you're creating a video, you need to know how to use copywriting to hook someone to watch the video. If you're creating social media posts, it's the same thing. Developing the skills of content writing and copywriting is very important. Another aspect is that there's a lot of places where you can use different types of content to get your message across. For example, if you're creating long-form videos, so there's YouTube, right? There's your own website or client's website. If you're creating short-form videos, there's Instagram Reels, there's YouTube Shorts, there are TikToks. So understanding what makes someone want to click and what makes someone want to watch is very important. I think that high click-through rate and getting a high retention all starts with understanding what the person watching the video wants and how to craft content that engages that person. So how do you improve in your content and copywriting skills? The first thing I would suggest is to study what successful people in your industry are doing. Do not copy them, but do see what they are doing and why it is working for them. Imagine you are a consumer. When you put that hat on, what are the things that make you want to click? And what are the things that make you want to buy a product or want to know more about what is on offer? Understanding this will help you craft a message that gets similar results. Also, don't be afraid to refine your content. One of the points I will touch on later on this video is having a Kaizen mentality, which means constant and never-ending improvement. This is something that's very important for me, and I think that a lot of my success has come from that. The hunger, so to speak, the desire to always get that 1% better every single day. So don't be afraid to ask for feedback, do not take any feedback personally, and always be willing to improve on the work that you've done. The second skill that I think is crucial for a freelancer is organizational and time management skills. There are various aspects where these skills come into practice, the biggest one being client deadlines. Being able to maintain an organized schedule that ensures timely delivery and fulfillment of client projects is very important. If you fall behind on deadlines, you will lose the trust of clients, you will lose the trust in yourself, which I think is more important, and things will quickly start going downhill. In terms of organization, it's also important to consider this when it comes to doing the things that you need to be doing every single day. If you are trying to find more work as a freelancer, there are things you need to do in order to do so. And being organized with your time is very important. Next up is using the right tool. So for me, I like using Notion. It's a tool that I've come to understand how it works better over time. Using these platforms allows me to stay on top of the tasks that need to be done, whether it's my own work or the client work. There are tools that you can use that make life easier, so use them to your advantage. Another important skill to have is the ability to research things thoroughly. And what I mean by that, whether you are creating your own stuff or stuff for clients, being able to see what is already out there, understand how you can use it to your advantage, and also spot trends before they become mainstream is very important. So let's explore these points in a bit more detail. Let's say that you're creating a blog article for a client about SEO trends. In this case, being able to incorporate case studies, testimonials, and other forms of proof into your article and content marketing strategies is very important. Everyone can make various sorts of claims. However, not everyone can back them up. Being able to add information to back up what you are saying is very important, and it all starts with researching the right information. Also, by studying consumer behavior, you can create content, or articles in this case, that are super specific to your market. If you are creating an article about the best SEO tools, you can make a few assumptions. For example, you can assume that the person isn't necessarily new to SEO since they are searching about the best tools. You can also assume that they have an idea of the pros and cons of such tools and the benefits that they provide. Whereas if you are just creating an article about what is SEO, the knowledge of the person reading the article would probably be much less than in the previous case. So understanding the behavior of the consumer allows you to create content that resonates with such a person. Even more important is anticipating industry changes. For example, at the moment with SEO, focus is on creating valuable content. There was a time when the focus was on creating as much content as possible. However, with the latest Google updates, this has quickly changed. As a freelancer, being able to predict these shifts in your market means you can stay on top of demands, means you can pivot quickly, and it means that you can stay in business long term, which is what we're ultimately trying to do. In fact, one thing I keep referring to very frequently is the value equation by Alex Hormozi, and the idea is that we're trying to increase the items on top of the equation and decreasing the items at the bottom. So we're trying to have a better dream outcome for our client, we're trying to have a better perceived likelihood of achievement, while trying to decrease the time delay and the effort and sacrifice. If I'm creating blog content for my client, I want to increase the dream outcome. I want to make it so the client gets more traffic to their website, and I want to increase the perceived likelihood that occurs. So if it means showing the clients examples of past work, if I'm showing previous client testimonials, that all helps to increase the perceived likelihood of achievement. At the same time, I want to decrease the time delay, so the time to take the clients to see results. For example, if I can deliver an article in 1 week, it's better than taking 1 month. And I also want to decrease the effort and sacrifice the client has to go through. No one really wants to keep going back and forth to get a piece of work done. So if I can deliver this in the right format, ready to publish as of version 1, that's better than having to have 5 different versions. So this is a very important formula that I keep in mind when it comes to my freelance journey. Communication and charisma is another big skill to develop. When you are working by yourself, it's easy to get yourself into your shell. You rely on yourself to find clients, to deliver the work, to get more clients, and to keep the ball moving forward. At the same time, working on your communication skills helps a lot. Working on your charisma also gives you leverage that many people in general don't really think about. When you can present yourself in a way that is memorable, that people remember you, you stand the chance of getting better deals, getting more clients, building more relationships. It all adds up. So what does it look like in real life? This is how I think about it. So first of all, there is effective relationship building. So my business, I try to use the power of charisma and effective communication. Aim is to form strong, lasting connections. For example, my business, I've been working with the biggest client I have for almost 2.5 years. The relationship has evolved over time, doing better work, doing more work, but it has evolved as time went by. We speak very frequently. I'm learning a lot from the client and from the work that we're doing. It's a relationship that's mutually beneficial. Secondly, there's the global client management side of things. So with being a freelancer and working in a remote type of situation, you need to learn to navigate different communication styles. Some people have a specific sense of humor. Others are a bit more on the shy side. So being able to have empathy and understanding of where people are coming from is very important. Being aware of what is happening also helps bridge the gap, in my opinion. Third is exceeding client expectations. It all comes down to right communication, and it also comes down to over-delivering. If I can do something that helps the client get better results, even though it wasn't part of the plan, I will do my best to do it. It also helps to refine my communication skills. So whenever something doesn't go as planned, I think it is my responsibility because I didn't communicate well. And having this sort of frame of mind helps to get better results over time. Also, I think it's important to understand that people have their own way of communicating. For example, in this conversation, I got this reply, phrased in a way that doesn't sound like a Victorian serial killer. And at first, I had no idea what that actually meant. All it meant was that whatever I was trying to say was way too formal. If I had taken that personally, it wouldn't have served anyone at all. Instead, it was just the client's way of providing feedback about some of the work that I had done. Nothing personal, it was just his way of saying things. So there's always different ways that people communicate what they are thinking. I think that not taking anything personal and seeing everything as a learning experience is the way forward. One thing I wanted to mention about charisma is that there's a lot of information that can help you get better at it. For example, this channel on YouTube called Charisma on Command really breaks down different situations, different things that people do that can help with developing charisma. It's something that I've had to work on a personal and professional level, but it's something I also enjoy doing. So definitely a channel to check out and something to keep in mind as you're trying to develop this muscle and the skill in your freelance business. Also, if you feel that you're not a naturally charismatic person, remember that there are 4 different stages of consciousness. The first one is when you're in the unconscious incompetence stage. And here, you get wrong intuition. As you start getting better, you get conscious incompetence. As you get even better, you become consciously competent. So here, you really need to focus in order to make the right decision, but you get to the right analysis. Finally, you get to the unconscious competence stage. So here you get the right intuition. You don't really have to think much about things, and things become what we call second nature. As with any other skill, you need to go through the process, and it's unnatural for you to think that you wouldn't suck if you haven't done it before. You can't expect not to suck if you are just starting out doing something. It applies to your freelancing journey. It applies to every other skill online. So one thing to keep in mind. The next skill that you need to develop is using AI in combination with manual or human input. Over the last 12 months, and probably even more, there's been a lot of focus on artificial intelligence and the question of whether machines will take over the jobs of many different industries. And freelancing is one of those industries. And the way I see it is that it will take over a lot of jobs if you are not skilled enough, because someone doesn't have any valid reason not to use artificial intelligence to do basic level work. At the same time, if you are skilled at what you do, I don't think that AI will be able to take your job, because you'll be able to use it to your advantage. Then again, it's about developing skills and getting better at your craft. If you are just expecting AI not to take over your job, and not doing anything about it, I think that you are in trouble. So understanding where AI fits in the whole plan of being a freelancer is very important. For me, I use AI when creating article outlines after I created my own manual outlines. I feel that it can add any ideas that are missing. I feel it can make ideas that I have already listed down better, but I don't think it can do the whole thing by itself, and I don't think it is intended to do that. As you can see, it is expanding on each point. For example, for content writing, I can speak about SEO knowledge, adaptability in writing styles, and research skills. Under organization skills, I can speak about time management, project management tools, and prioritization techniques. Under researching, I can speak about data gathering, critical analysis. So, to be fair, I didn't really give much context to my prompt. I just said I'm creating a YouTube script on the best freelancing skills to have. I didn't speak about what type of freelancing I'm speaking about. But if I were to do this with a better prompt, I can then refine this information even more. So this is one example. Another example would be to create images. So it used to be that creating images was something that you either did yourself or hired someone to do. Personally, I really have no artistic skills, so it's not something that I could do manually myself. So it would have had to be hiring someone to do it. In this case, with the various tools available, you can get this done as a freelancer, either for your projects or for clients. So if we go back to ChatGPT, it is now integrated into one interface. So I want to create an image that shows this point. Enter. And again, it's a very poor prompt, but I'm just curious what this will show. As this is creating the image, other tools that I love using are Jasper. I also love using Canva because it helps to add the final touches to any images generated. So I could take this image that DALL-E within ChatGPT has generated, add some text here, make some adjustments to the colors, increase brightness, increase the contrast, etc. And there's also tools like Go High Level, which I also love using. And all these tools have artificial intelligence aspects to them that make life easier. Even the presentation that you are seeing right here was generated in a tool called Gamma.app, which makes it easy to create PowerPoints with the help of artificial intelligence. Therefore, knowing which AI tools are available and how to best use them is a very important skill. And here is one final bonus skill that I think is very important in this world of ever-evolving technology. And this is the hunger for continuous improvement. I mentioned this before, which is the Kaizen mentality, and the Kaizen philosophy focuses on continuous improvement. In this case, in your freelance journey and your evolvement as a professional, being able to improve just that little bit every single day will lead to a much bigger compounded improvement over time. Even within a few short weeks or a few short months, by constantly having that small improvement, you will not be able to recognize yourself, as cliche as that might sound. It's also important for self-discipline. So honing your freelancing skills is not about motivation. I don't think that you will always be motivated to do the things that need to be done. Instead, it's about being self-disciplined. If you really want to achieve long-term success, this is very important. And finally, it's about personal growth. This hunger for continuous improvement will also have an effect in your personal life, and you will see improvements in the different areas as well. Let's now speak about synergy of skills. And this is, I believe, quite an important concept, because when you work on these skills that I mentioned and you combine them together, the answer of 1 + 1 skill is not necessarily 2. So 1 + 1 doesn't mean 2, but a much bigger compounded result. For example, if you get better at content writing and researching, you can enhance your writing by getting better insights, by creating more compelling content, which as a result leads to you creating better stuff overall. You'll also be able to do it faster, which means you can do more. If you combine better communication along with the idea of always wanting to get better at these skills, it means that you will open doors for other opportunities to come into your professional life. Another example, if you combine AI integration plus idea generation, you can improve your productivity, you can be more innovative in the way that you do things, and again, this leads to you being a better freelancer. So do not underestimate improving in each of these skills, because the result will be compounded. So the final question that remains is, how do you choose the skills to focus on? And it is a very difficult question to answer, because I am not you and you are not me. However, this is how I see the whole which skills do I focus on question and answer. I think that, first of all, the people that say follow your passion are giving the wrong advice, because you don't know what you don't know. If you wait until you find your passion, there's a chance that you will never get started, simply because you won't know what you are passionate about until you actually do things. So what is the solution? The way I see it is that you should move in the direction that makes the most sense. For example, if you are getting started with your freelancing business, you could start creating articles, or you could start creating videos, or you could start creating social media posts, but you need to start somewhere. So let's say you go with blog posts. That's great. Next, you need to know what kind of blog posts you will be creating. You can create blog posts that are how-to posts, you can create blog posts that are best of posts. You could create blog posts that are in a review kind of format. By doing the work and seeing which gives you the best results, I feel that you are able to get closer and closer to your destination. At the same time, I also feel that you never will get to the destination, so you should also enjoy the work that you do. It's also important to stick to one thing and not shift from one thing to another. Do not let the shiny object syndrome affect you negatively in life. It's something that I suffered from for many years, and I feel that it is still something that I constantly need to work on, because there's a lot of shiny stuff out there. However, I only started finding success when I really focused on one thing and really dive deep into that. Alright, so in conclusion, working on your skills is basically a never-ending journey. It's something that you need to, in a way, fall in love with. It's something that you will do consistently, because I feel that, especially as a freelancer, if you are not moving forward, you are moving backwards. There will be many things that you will try that won't work, but there will be things that you start seeing success in. As you develop more and more skills, you also combine these skills to get better results and provide more value both to yourself when it comes to finding and managing clients, and to the final product that you deliver to these clients. Finally, remember that it's a journey, so might as well enjoy the small wins that you get along the way. With that, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.